Our first guest is one of the most important writers of her generation. Her award-winning novels have sold millions of copies around the globe, and the New York Times recently named her most recent blockbuster, Americana, one of the top 10 books of 2013. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, welcome to Arise Entertainment 360.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So last night you were at the Tenement Museum downtown, and there was a line around the block to see you read from Americana. What's it feel like to be a literary sensation?
Ooh.
You're a literary rock star.
Okay. No, it's just really lovely when people come. I'm always surprised that there are just people at my events. Sometimes I'm thinking, are you sure you're at the right place? But yeah, it's a good feeling because, you know, when you write, you want to be read. Mm-hmm. So it's lovely to be read.
You know, writers sometimes say, I don't do it for the prizes, I don't do it for the accolades or the attention, I do it because I love to write. But you've won numerous awards, a MacArthur Prize, an Orange Prize, my goodness, and you're nominated again for the Orange Prize. What's it feel like to have your work be so well received and acknowledged in that way?
What does it feel like? Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel too bad. But you know, though, I don't write. The prizes are wonderful when they happen, but that's not why I write. I write because writing is what I love to do. And really what matters the most to me is if I can touch one human being with what I write, that's the biggest prize, really. Because prizes are wonderful, but they're subjective, they can get political, you know? But it's actually just being read and somebody getting your work and your work meaning something to somebody. That's for me, that's the real prize. Well,
people have indeed gotten your work, and you have been wildly successful. You have a career that people twice your age would dream about. You're not even 40 yet, and you've sold millions of books around the globe. What do you feel like? What does it feel like to have that tremendous amount of success at such a young age, and how do you define success?
How do I define success? I think success is feeling a sense of I don't want to sound too new agey, but really, I think it's feeling a sense of centeredness in yourself. And it's something that increasingly I define from the inside rather than from the outside. Because, I mean, it's all of these things are lovely, right?
Yes.
But if I hadn't been fortunate enough to be published and read, I would still be writing. You just wouldn't know who I was.
Really? You
Yes.
would be?
Yes. It's a passion. It's my true love. It's what makes me happy. Yeah.
Do you feel pressure to outdo your previous works?
No.
Really?
No. And you know, all of I don't remember, I don't actively remember. I don't wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and say, now I won the Orange Prize, I shall now write. No. I wake up and I still have the terror that comes with creativity, the terror that I'm not going to write a good sentence.
Really?
That, yes.
Even though you've been this successful and you've written many, many great sentences.
Yeah, but there's always the possibility of not writing one. And yeah, so it's not, the success is wonderful, but it's in some ways it's separated from the creative process. When you're sitting there trying to write, if it goes well, you're so happy. But if it doesn't go well, yes.
I know, it is terrifying.
Yes.
Speaking of going well, let's talk about Beyonce. She sampled your TED Talk in her song Flawless. So are you and Beyonce BFFs now? What's your relationship like?
You know what, I just think it's a wonderful thing that because of Beyonce's song, young people all over the world are talking about gender and that young women are more likely to think about reclaiming that word. So I just feel like that's a wonderful thing because we need to talk about gender. I think gender is a major problem everywhere in the world. And so, yeah, I think it's a good thing.
How did that collaboration come to be? And when did you know that she was going to sample your TED Talk? That seldom happens.
The sampling of TED Talks?
Yes.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
So did she reach out to you? Did her people reach out to you? How did it work?
We will move on.
No, you don't want to talk about it. Is that right?
Yeah.
You can tell me a little something. Have you?
No, she watched the TED Talk and she loved it and she wanted to use it. Yeah.
Okay, during the TED Talk, you spoke about feminism and how that word carries a lot of baggage. Do you think that's still the case? And if so, why? Why is there still a stigma attached to feminism? It's almost as if that is the true F word, if you will.
Yeah. I think because of the history of the word and the history of what is called the feminist movement. And I think also people very often use the extreme cases to represent the whole. So people will say feminists are angry and they hate men, and maybe some feminists actually hate men, some people who call themselves feminists, but the mainstream feminist idea is not about hating men. It's about the equality of men and women. But I think that there are also people who feel, who are hostile to that word because they want to keep things as they are. So there are lots of men who would say, well, why are you talking about feminism? Things are fine as they are. If you're in a position of privilege and power, maybe things are fine for you, but they're not fine for other people. So, but I do think it's changing. I think the perception of the word is changing. And I think in 50 years, it won't be the F word anymore. It's going to be a word that both men and women will happily identify with.
You have called yourself a happy African feminist. Explain that.
Who likes lip gloss.
Who and heels.
No, the reason I did that, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but a journalist in Nigeria had said to me, why are you calling yourself a feminist? Feminists are angry women who cannot find husbands. Oh, and really? I thought, right, I didn't get that memo, but so then I started sort of mockingly saying, well, I'm a happy African feminist, because people would often also say that feminism is not African.
Yes, I read that in an interview.
Yeah,
what does that mean exactly?
It's just a way of silencing you. So they'll say to you, it's not our culture. The equality of the sexes is not our culture, so don't talk about it. And I want to say to them, well, are you ready to give up your cell phone? Because cell phones are not our culture. I mean, where do we start? This idea of culture as a static thing that you use to silence people is so funny because things change. Right?
It's true.
And, yeah.
We have to evolve. Now, during the TED Talk, I love this line. You said that we teach girls to shrink themselves, to make themselves smaller. We say to girls, you can have ambition, but not too much. That really resonated with people. 6 million viewers have gone to YouTube to watch that TED Talk alone. Did you have any idea that that talk would have such an impact?
No, I did not. I did not at all. And, because I also was aware that feminism is not something that's necessarily popular.
Right, it's not sexy.
Yes, and that you talk about it and people just get uncomfortable. And so I didn't at all. But at the same time, I wanted to talk about what I cared about. My brother and my best friend made me do that talk.
Really?
And I had nothing else to talk about because people keep saying to me, come and do another talk like The Danger of a Single Story. And I say to them, but that's the talk. It's done. I have nothing else to say. I'm talked out. And then I thought, what else am I passionate about? And it's gender. And so I gave the talk and I thought, maybe 5 people will like it, but that's fine.
Oh, a lot more than 5 people have liked it.
I've been very, very happy about that because I'm hoping that it just starts people talking about what it means.
You mentioned lip gloss and high heels, but in a recent essay that you wrote for Elle magazine, you talked about having to dress down because you wanted to be taken seriously.
Yes.
Clearly that's changed and I'm happy for it. But why did you think that your appearance would in some way undermine your ability?
I think most women who want to be taken seriously, I think the society tells us that you're not supposed to look as though you care too much about your appearance. Otherwise, it then means that we can assume that you're shallow. If she spends so much time putting on lipstick, she doesn't really have a brain, kind of thing. And intellectually, I don't believe that. But emotionally, I think I bought into that for a long time. I wanted to be taken seriously. And so... Orange
is your favorite color, and you wouldn't wear that? You wouldn't wear big earrings? You wore flats, no heels?
Yeah.
So you did buy into it?
I did, for a while, yes.
So what changed? Did success in some way impact the way you decided to dress?
I'm tempted to say success, but I think it's also just being older and being more confident and a kind of slowly coming into my full self that just made me think life is short. Life is way too short to pretend to be what you're not. And I'm just going to be that person who wears what makes me happy.
Okay. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more from Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.